One positive that Holtz, Donahue, and Davis share is that each would fit nicely into the current Cowboy organizational chart. Not surprisingly, one NFL head coach who drew unsolicited praise from Jerry during the season is not a candidate to get the Cowboys' job, Rich Kotite. Yep, for some unknown reason, Jerry went out of his way to stand up for Richie a few weeks ago. Very admirable. In that sense, as you well know, I guess Jerry is a better man than me because I have never praised Rich Kotite as a head coach. It's finally going to be over for Richie after this weekend. There seems to be no saving him now, and I'll certainly miss him. I've had a lot of fun at Richie's expense, and frankly, I hate to see it end. Because I take so many shots at Richie, I'm often asked if I feel guilty about it. Not at all. I don't feel sorry for Richie. He's been making a lot of money doing what he wants to do, even if he's been ill-suited to do it. The people I feel sorry for are all those Eagle and Jet fans that have had their dreams trampled by Richie's incompetence. I'm on the record as saying Rich Kotite is the worst head coach in NFL history. So how did he become a head coach? Let's examine the facts. After the 1989 season, Richie was fired along with Joe Walton and the entire Jets staff. At the same time, then Eagles owner Norman Brayman ordered Buddy Ryan to hire a new offensive coordinator. A few people were offered the job but turned it down because the Eagles were offering just a one-year contract because Buddy was going into the final year of his deal. Through default, the job went to Kotite. At the end of the 90s season, Brayman fired Ryan. As for the next head coach, Brayman's criteria were simple. He wanted a yes man after all those years with Buddy, and he wanted somebody who would work for no money. Brayman picked Richie over Jeff Fisher, who was Buddy's defensive coordinator, in part because of Fisher's closeness to the hated Ryan. Most NFL head coaches dream and plan about being head coaches their entire lives. I don't think Richie ever thought he'd be a head coach in the NFL until the day he surprisingly got the job, and his performances, I think, prove it. He took over what was arguably one of the three most talented teams in the league when he got the Eagles job and drove it into the ground. He didn't draft one great player in the 4 years he was in Philadelphia. Worse, he didn't seem to have a clue about handling game situations. He was known for not making adjustments at halftime. At halftime, the players would go in and eat fruit, and Jim McMahon would use the blackboard to play hangman. And that was it. He got fired in Philadelphia after Brayman sold the team. He finished off his tenure by losing the last 7 games of the '94 season. As a reward, the Jets handed him their football operation. At the time, Jets owner Leon Hess, who had just fired Pete Carroll after 1 season, said he wanted to win immediately and that Richie was his man. In New York, the hiring was perceived to be Hess's call. I never believed that. I think it was Jets president Steve Gutman who orchestrated it. Gutman was left on the outside looking in on football decisions when Hess brought in Dick Steinberg to be the general manager after the 1989 season. I believe Gutman saw the hiring of Kotite as a way to finally get control of the Jets' football operation. Needless to say, it hasn't worked out. I was sort of ahead of the curve on the Richie thing. I was making fun of him before it was fashionable. Well, what can I tell you? I may not be right about everything in my life, but I have been right about Rich Kotite. Again, do I feel badly about dissing Richie? Well, how about all those Eagle fans who spent 4 years being disappointed while Brayman shoved Richie down their throats? And how about all those Jet fans who were so dismayed that they stopped going to the games? You know, football's supposed to be fun, but it's no fun for fans when they're dealt a Rich Kotite, especially when they're dealt a Kotite for no other reason than he was a puppet for the owner in Philadelphia and a vehicle for a power play by a team executive in New York. For the last 6 years, Rich Kotite has had a job. His job has been to win football games in the NFL. I also have a job. My job is to inform you about the NFL and to entertain you. Should I have laid off Richie? No. Just because Rich Kotite hasn't been able to do his job doesn't mean that I shouldn't do mine. Up next, I'll go over each and every game of the final NFL regular season weekend, and later, the picks.